that's it for some headlines. We're going to go dive right into this Hallyujuku talk segment. It's a nice meaty one. So there's no need to delay it. So bam!
So, welcome to another edition of Hallyujuku Talks. On this episode, we're going to be talking about No Mercy's final lineup, final episode, final lineup, and our thoughts overall on how everything went down.
Yeah, final episode. Yeah, we're talking about the final episode. So a couple things. Let's first talk about the final episode itself. They kind of, it was the mission to decide the final 7 members. And for the mission, they did, almost kind of 2 blocks. They did 3 sets of 3-person unit performances. So it was like 3 on 3 on 3. And then the block, the second block B, if you will, was all of 9 in a group performing together.
A final group performance or just that to show what they look like all together kind of thing. To give this, because it was supposed to come down to, and I say supposed to, come down to a 50% audience vote and a 50% judge vote of who your final
We'll talk about
were.
how the math really makes that basically the audience decides how that works. So we'll talk in a second.
We'll
let's
talk about
the
how that's bullshit, though. But so that's what it was supposed to be. So you get to see the 3 members put together, 3 members put together, 3 members put together of that final 9. Then you get to see all 9 perform together. I want to say there was not a weak performance in there at all. I generally enjoyed everyone's performance. Everybody showed a lot of upskill. And you know what? All right, I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna start to lead into a bigger thing, but I'll leave it. There are some people who kind of were always in the background and continued to be in the background even when they were added in the middle of the show.
Yeah,
and really didn't show a lot to me, but whatever. Other than that, I think everybody really, really showed a lot of skill, really, really showed a lot of growth from when you see them in the first episode to now in the last episode. So
they put together some really cool songs, and like Juhan's group put together a really cool song with like with Interstellar, the song, and like that was like a really cool like performance.
I thought that one was really good. Giovanni did really, really exceptional again, which is why he was ranked in number 1.
Which is always why he's always ranked number 1. And then like I think if you could pick out any of that were like the quote unquote weak one, you would maybe say the group with Shotgun in it. Because what they talked about, that wasn't even, you wouldn't even say it was the group's fault. It was just the composer, how he made their arrangement, their ending, like they said, was a little like, it just kind of ended. Even that performance was really cool. Despite the fact that I spent a good chunk of it going, where's Shotgun?
Right. you do spend a good, I think of all the Jay Park songs that they could have picked, I don't think that was the one to pick. I like So Good.
Yeah, Joa, yeah.
But there's ones where there's a better mix of rap and singing in a Jay Park song that could have been picked. But I still liked the arrangement of it because I was in my head, I was like, So Good? Like, where is the rap gonna fit into that, you know? Like, thinking about So Good, but they did really well. They did really well to fit the rapper into that song. And
yeah, you can almost say, like, I think they picked a song that was 2/3 singing and like a third raps. Like, they wanted to focus, try to let it evenly distribute, which I understand. which is understandable. And then Shotgun performed well, and again, coming a long way dance wise, I think. Definitely. And then the whole group performance was really fun. The song was really cool. The way they kind of structured the choreography was really cool. The way they featured Shotgun in the central role of like the almost like that one part in 2 p.m. song where they're riding the motorcycle, kind of using that thing. But they did it really well. And I think it was paced well, and it featured everybody really well. And it was really cool. A chock full of fun performances. I think you can't really say any of them were really weak. And it was a fun last episode. Luckily, not a lot of filler, which I think I'm glad. Of course, it's the finale. You're not going to have any filler. You're just going to go just full on and finish strong, blow your load, if you will. And then in the end, the final 7 were chosen. The two that were not chosen were Shotgun and Sowak, I believe. Shotgun and Sokwon. Now, I'll let you start. What were your thoughts on the final 7 as a group and the exclusion of Shotgun and Sokwon?
All right, so I'll start on this end. There were at least 4 people that I knew were going to be in this group. That being Juani, I knew he was going to be in. There's pretty much no way he wasn't.
He was number one. He was the number one of everything. Yeah, Shonu. Yeah.
Yeah. He was iffy in the beginning. Like, you knew he was the best performer.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Bless you.
But he had a lot of weaknesses.
Yeah.
To overcome, which he knew about, and he did, right? Kiwon, who's another vocalist, right?
Yeah.
Really, really great vocalist. I liked him kind of from the start. Those were like 3 lock-ins, They were definitely kind of always going to be in.
One definite lock-in on every hashtag everything is a work level was I am. We're gonna talk.
Well, all right. That's that. All right. So let's talk about that. Right. Let's go ahead and do that. Right. So you had this ad of I am, right, and I am kind of was. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you try to put it, no matter what spin you want to put on it, I am was placed as this fucking just this work. Like, he was just put in like, hey, you know what? Spot. Like there is some fucking real backside shit that went into that in my mind now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get into it so hard, but it is so fucking sell. You know what I'm saying? Like this kid was sold. He was put in there. He was fucking like, even in the mission that they came up into, it was like he was given this, the like kind of best part of that rap in there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what part you give Juani, he's gonna fucking outshine you because he's just a really good rapper. Yeah. But I feel like they became this focus, like, let's focus on the rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's this kid? We don't know. Let's give him a big fucking part. What? No, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it just kind of ever more encroachingly became this thing where, like, the last couple missions, like, you could put it to luck, you could put it to whatever. Fuck that bullshit. Every team he was on won, Yeah. Like, so there was no chance of him ever being in danger where it could be this thing where it's like, well, he's the new kid and you know what? He didn't really shine. Get out of here. No, every time he was fucking safe. There is never a position in which he was not safe.
Yeah.
And that was kind of bullshit. And then it became the middle of the show where I felt like, as much as I like Shotgun, I really like Shotgun.
Yeah.
He stands out way more than anybody else on a personality level, which could have been his downfall.
Yeah. He's definitely an individual. I think it's hard. I kind of want. Okay, so I had an initial reaction. So I got spoiled on the final lineup and saw that Shotgun wasn't on it, and I even told you that I basically did the Seinfeld thing of like, nope, I'm out. Like, I don't care anymore.
No, I saw an all K-pop article. Like I every so often when I pay attention to Twitter, there always is for some reason an all K-pop article that shows something that I wanted to look at. So like it was like, oh, the final lineup's been revealed and Shotgun's not in it, you know. I mean, I feel like this was a kind of like this is one of those times that from the American side, right? It was this real collective of what the fuck. You know, like, especially from a lot of the media outlets that we use to cover all the things that happen in Korea and all this stuff, where everybody felt like a kind of collective what the fuck. Even in this article from Cult Scene that you added in our doc, right? Yeah. They talk about the fact that they feel like there was a work, like you said. They're like, fucking Shotgun got worked. Shotgun and to a certain extent, the other rapper got kind of worked in this.
I was okay. So I will say that was my initial reaction. Then I thought about it, and I looked at the this article, and I looked at a couple of things, and I kind of molded over my head. The question of like, is this real or is it fake? I'm like, there's no question. Of course, it's fake. Let's just accept that. No, it's a work, but I kind of. It was going over my head, like, I'm okay with that. I'm a wrestling fan, or whatever, it's a work. I'm just going to talk about the booking. How did they book this show? How did they book this show, to lead into their final, their lineup, that they wanted? How did they book it so that they showcase the people that they wanted? And did they book the wrong guy? Or, my guy was supposed to be booked more, pushed better. Going through my, wrestling fan mentality, but then I realized I was still trying to reason out and trying to reason out the idea that it was a work, just in a different way. I had to kind of look at this article and realize on a book from a simple, booking the guys that you want to be your group to win level, I kind of understand how it ended up being the way it is. So this article shows kind of how, the mentality over it. So we go over I Am over Shotgun. Shotgun, we love Shotgun just because of his personality and his individuality. But, like I said, it could have been his downfall in the sense that I Am was the one that fits the most as the second rapper in an idol group. Because what you needed was the second rapper. Because you have your first rapper. You have Juhan. He's your focal point. Like, he's your cornerstone. He's the number one guy. He was the number one guy. He's the best rapper. He's one of the better dancers. And overall great performer. And then you have to think, okay, who's going to be our second rapper? This all outright individual, who, though has grown, isn't the best dancer, and the best fitting in an idol group, or this guy that we have that's a trainee. So they kind of brought him in to kind of like, all right, we kind of need to push Shotgun. We need a different rapper in there that fits better with the final group that we want to book as the winners, which makes sense. It hurts for the guy that we like it, but it makes sense. And then
it only makes sense if Shotgun wanted to be number one, which, okay, yeah, Shotgun does kind of want to be number one. Shotgun does kind of challenge your kind of format in a sense, because he has a lot of personality and he shines really well. But I think it always comes back to that thing that we initially said in the beginning. And I think this kind of sometimes ends up being the downfall in certain K-pop things, right? Yeah. Where you pick the guys who fit your mentality well better than the guys who fit well. You know what I'm saying? Because you take the guys who fit well, fucking Shotgun, and like you think overall, like we said, you can make a subunit out of Shotgun and Juwani, right? You can make. There's so like even that three man thing showed so much potential for sub group stuff, right? Using two of the rappers and one of the singers, kind of all this stuff or whatever. And I think it also, a lot of the times in the overall production of it, Shotgun and Juwani ended up on two separate teams because I think in the production mindset, they saw them both as two top rappers instead of one of them as a top, one of them as a secondary, right? They never really got a chance to group together more than the time where they, where it was the two of them together, but at the same time they're competing, right? Yeah. And even then they fucking killed it with that song that they did. Yeah. But it always comes back to that thing, like you said, where Shotgun shows a lot of personality. So it kind of comes off that he wants to be number one and that he might not fit into that perfect little meld of K-popdom that you have where you want kind of one guy to be on top. Where, because like most likely the two front guys in this are going to be Juwani and Juwon, right?
Those Juwon and Shanu are going to be the vocal guys. Are like your cornerstones. Kihyun's gonna be your main vocalist. He's gonna be the guy that gets those high notes, gets those solos. And by solos I mean in the song. And Shonu's gonna be the core performer, and then everybody kind of plays different roles. And then you kind of go into, and I definitely see what you're saying. I'm going back and forth. You go into the other guy, Sekwon, who is, by all accounts, one of the better vocalists, that were there. So they chose Hyung, basically it breaks down to, it was Hyungwon, and Minhyuk over Sekwon. And what I think it's illustrated great in this article that they basically broke down, it was the visual and the mood maker over the extra vocalist. Because Sekwon would have been the extra vocalist in the group, whereas somebody like Hyungwon and Minhyuk, they had a different role that they could own themselves, where, Hyungwon is the visual, for all intents and purposes, I guess the chicks like him. I don't. He's not my cup of tea, but the chicks dig him. Minhyuk was the kind of the funny mood maker, kind of a personality that, and specifically being the kind of the cute, fun personality guy. He's going to be the guy you can bring on, you'll have Juhan and you'll have him coming on happy together, or on Hello Counselor, on the variety shows. Like, he'll be there, to accompany the person that's the most popular one, to kind of be the variety guy or be the funny guy to support him. So that's him. And of course the visual. So, as much as, you say, like, Sekwon was the most talented, was one of the more talented of, like, those three, he didn't fit a role that was needed. Which, I definitely understand. I've come to accept. I've come to accept.
Right. And but see, here's where I start to get disheartened, right? Because it starts to get to a point where you talk about this and you listen to the things that we're saying, and we're saying, well, they picked that guy even though he wasn't the most talent, and you go, like, we're at a loss of talent over radio or TV, like, and then, right. Okay. So I'm the guy who does it every time, and I'm going to do it again, right? I'm going to bring up somebody like Big Bang, right? Yeah. You take Big Bang's conception, and initially it's set up as, GD's your main guy.
Uh-huh.
Taeyong is your main vocalist. Sungri is your backup vocal, right? Kind of backup vocal visual. D-Light is kind of the mood setter kind of person, right? And then you have Top, who's your backup, who's your secondary rapper, right? And in their inception, they did that, right? But you take a lot of that learned individuality, fucking Top stands out as an amazing rapper, right? And was allowed to be able to do that, right? Like, is there going to be chances and times where IM stands out? Yeah, okay, that it's going to happen, right? He has a really cool voice. His rap is kind of, I'm sorry, but to me, his rap is kind of standard and boring.
Yeah.
But that's what they want, and that's cool over somebody like Shotgun who can stand out as a rapper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like fucking like those first like, and here's my like working of it, right? Kind of the conspiracy theory, right? Shotgun really stood out in the beginning, right? Like he came out and he showed a lot of power and a lot of individuality, and then I think as it went, like he claims throughout the show, oh, I'm gaining confidence as I go. Like I was weak when I started and I'm gaining confidence as I go. But what I think happened is they chipped away at a lot of his individuality and a lot of his style to try to make him fit. And it came to a point where it wasn't going to work. And then, you throw in this other guy and he's locked to win or whatever. Like, we don't worry. It's not a worry anymore. And I feel like Shotgun got smaller and smaller as those last few episodes go on. And he didn't start to stand out in his raps as much because he was trying to fit into this box, which then just made him like not look as good,
Yeah.
Like I loved that initial individuality. I loved that mix that he had in the beginning with the group when they kind of show them perform. I love the mix that he has with Joanne. But that's all the things that I loved about it, And like you said, those aren't the things that they wanted. That's not what they were looking for. They were looking for the standard boy group,
Yeah, I think we almost there's a comic that I'm showing that you almost kind of could say about the two rappers, IM and Shotgun, where you see as you can see. Obviously, you have the one guy on the left. He's killing it. He's like, Neil Peart reincarnated. I hopefully I got the right Rush member. Don't kill me. And he goes, "You're amazing." You got the other guy on the left. Boom, bap, boom, boom, bap. You're hired. You're amazing. You're hired. And honestly, it's kind of an old, musician joke. But it can almost apply to this situation. Shotgun is the guy on the left who's got all the talent in the world and can really shine as an individual. IM is the guy on the right who can hit the beat and do what the writer wants him to do. who can do what Giddy Boy wants him to do. Who can do what who can do what Shin Sedong Tai, or I don't know, who can do whatever the producer wants the song to be. And that's kind of almost what it comes down to. And we talked about the 50%. Mathematically speaking, they actually, I do believe that they actually did it that way. Because if you look at it mathematically speaking, 8 people counted the same as a giant group of those people. Like, I don't know how many people, it was like 100 or so people. If you look at it mathematically, let's say there were 80 people out there. Each judge counted for 10 people there. And if you break it down, and if you assume how the votes broke down, because they all picked 7 people, you can almost say that they were all pretty popular. You can almost say that pretty much at least a few basically had the equivalent of 1 vote. And the judges got to be able to pick which guy to put their second vote to. Here, you have 1 vote. Here's your second vote. Like, here's your second vote to put you up into the top 7. Here's your actual vote. So it was exactly as they put forward but it wasn't at, it was but it was set up exactly how they could basically decide what they wanted to do and still involve the audience, basically. Have a more complex.
Because I mean, come on, right? Like, if you're gonna involve the audience and you're gonna tell me that audience and that group of people picked IM over Shotgun,
yeah, no, a slight majority picked a good majority picked Shotgun, but they put in the votes to IM and got him. And basically, like I said, mathematically speaking, they was all on the up and up. It's just that the math basically weighed everything towards the judges. The house wins. So it was in the end, hashtag everything is work. That's fine. I'm of the mindset that that's fine. And I'm still not necessarily happy with the booking decisions. Let's just go ahead and call it the booking decisions of the show. But I see where they're coming from. I will say that I definitely agree with everything you have to say about still having those individuals. I still love Shotgun. I still would prefer him in this group, in the end. But I'm not saying I agree with it, but I see where they're coming from. It's like, I'm not saying, O.J. Simpson should have done it, but I understand.
I don't know. I think for me, it just seems kind of disheartening to go that route with somebody as good as Shotgun and then not use him.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of this article also brings up, he could very much do solo stuff. He has the range. He could do solo stuff.
Yeah.
You could also possibly do a who is next situation where, you have winner debut and then you reroute and come out with Icon, and kind of use some of the other trainees. Now, here's my thing with that. I don't really see,
you don't have as strong of a team B as you had with who's next. I think.
Right.
I think Shotgun, his blessing could be the freedom of not having the group. As much as I think this group, overall, I think this group is going to be a really good group. I look forward to seeing their first debut release, and it's going to be interesting. Just because I think there's probably going to have some really good quality people behind it, at the reins of making the music and stuff. I think Shotgun, he could take the silver lining of having the freedom to kind of possibly go solo, or maybe go to brand new music,
Yeah.
like the Outsiders.
We were talking about this before we started recording. There's a great little moment in that final episode where he's like, hey, there's a lot of good talent on that stage. And it's sad to see that somebody's going to get eliminated. And just, if you do get eliminated, come over to brand new music.
Come over to brand new music.
He just Suge Knighted the whole thing, and I loved it. And I think fucking Shotgun should take him up on that offer and go over to brand new music.
Yeah. I mean, they need somebody to replace Bumpkey,
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
No.
But yeah, I think.
I mean,
all right. So, that's our. I think we pretty much kind of went through all of our thoughts. Now, Monsta X is the name of the group that's going to be debuting. Now, forgetting that Shotgun exists and Sucklin exists, just looking at this group, and the name, how do you see the makeup? Just forgetting that anybody else exists, just looking at this group. How do you see the makeup, and what do you think of this group as it stands now?
So as I see the makeup of this group and just kind of knowing the personalities, I feel like it's gonna kind of be standard fare. I think it's gonna be really more akin to earlier 2 p.m. style stuff. They're going to do newer style stuff, but I think it's going to be more akin to earlier 2 p.m. style stuff where even though you have two rappers who could be really good, you're not going to get a lot from them because you have a lot more vocal and visual stuff that you can work with. So you're going to see a lot more of that with this kind of split rap break, like either in the beginning or the ends of the songs.
Yeah.
And then maybe one or two songs that are kind of a little more hip hop focused. I think it's kind of going to be more akin to that, even though a lot of it that they did seemed really hip hop and R&B throughout the show. I think in the end, they're going to kind of go with the standard fare style of like fun, chippy kind of stuff. And there's going to be that little mix of hip hop R&B that they've kind of shown.
It'll be interesting because they're coming out of Starship Entertainment, and they do already have Boyfriend there, and I wonder if they're going to let Boyfriend be their standard boy band and maybe give Monsta X a little more of a different style that is more hip hop influenced and is more of middle era 2 p.m. rather than early era 2 p.m. But I think I generally see where it's probably going to be, is like you said. Overall, the group has a good balance to it. They'll be represented well in the variety shows. They'll dance well, and they'll sing well. And I think, they'll have access to really good producers. Just, a nice sort of a variety of producers. So I think music-wise, we don't really have to worry about them, but we'll have to see how they create their identity. But like I said, it's probably going to be that more standard than off-center than anything. But yeah, that was No Mercy. And those were our thoughts. That brings us to the end of another fabulous episode of Hallyujuku. Kaz, what do you got going on in your neck of the woods?
Not a goddamn thing. I'm tired as fuck. I'm coming off of a convention. Coming off of, I mentioned it earlier, but I'm coming off of spending some time in the DC area at Katsucon, which was a fun convention. Took a lot of pictures, got a lot of shit to work on. Yeah. Ooh.
Time to edit them pictures.
Edit those pictures. Also, time to finally make a goddamn Facebook page for my photography stuff, because like goddamn 20 people were like, "Do you have a Facebook page?" I was like, "No, I just use my Facebook." But yeah, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna have to do that now, I guess."
Yeah.
Until other things become standard fare. But that's about it. So it's going to be a lot of pictures. So I would say look forward to those maybe next weekend-ish. Because I'm not going to edit shit this week. Fuck that noise.
Fuck that noise. Yeah, you can find his stuff. Go just find everything on about.me/King Kaz. That'll stay constantly updated. Me, I'm PD Rave everywhere, including at about.me/PD Rave, Twitter. All the other places as well. The show is at Hallyujuku, right over there. Hallyujuku.com, kpoppodcast.com, rebelli.net for this and the other shows. I'm excited because it's only a month away till South by Southwest / Jurymania. We're on the road to Jurymania as well, so there's going to be a lot of fun, hectic craziness that goes on in the middle of March. So keep an eye out for all the things. Follow the respective Twitter accounts. It's going to be follow me on Instagram. It's going to be a fun time. But yeah, that's it. Follow the things, subscribe to the things, share the things, iTunes, Stitcher, all of that goodness. Until next time, hasta los huevos. Annyeong. Fighting.